it is my great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Helen Thompson. So Helen is Esri's Global Marketing Strategy Manager for real estate, banking, and insurance. She's responsible for industry marketing strategies, for integrated campaigns, evangelism, thought leadership, and go-to-market execution for the commercial sector of industry marketing and business development for those teams. So she will give you a business focus here, which is very, very important for our community, particularly for those of us on university campuses who are trying to engage our business schools. Helen understands your community. She is an advocate for your community. And in terms of her own training and education, she was educated at the University of Plymouth, England, in geography, and also at Cardiff University in Wales in GIS and computer science. And she's going to give you a wonderful, thought-provoking presentation entitled The Internet of Everywhere, Digital Transformation and GIS. So Helen, take it away.
Thank you, Dawn, and thank you to David and the team for giving me the opportunity to speak. My academic credentials go back more than 30 years. I was privileged to join the first class taught by David Maguire at University of Plymouth. Through that relationship, David encouraged me to go on to postgraduate research, where I met Mike Batty and Paul Longley. I worked with Stuart Fotheringham and David Martin. So my background has always been about combining my interest in business, analytics, GIS, and computer science. And about 15 years ago, Jack invited me to come when we started our initiative around commercial. And my journey has in many ways reflected the journey that Esri has gone on around this. And we're going to talk a little about the future in the next session, but I'm going to give you a bit of a history lesson on why digital transformation is important. So in 1770, about the same time the US declared independence, cut away from the tea-drinking British, we had the first industrial revolution. This was based on steam and water power, and for the first time ever, we could produce things at a mass scale with the same quality and the same capability. 100 years later, along came electricity, and it transformed society. We had separation, division of labor as a consequence of having electricity. We no longer worked just from dawn to dusk, but from dusk to dawn. People came to the cities, and we manufactured things at a mass scale. And 100 years after that, we now had the introduction of programmable computers. We had robots which could do this at scale. And for the first time ever, society created something, manufactured something we couldn't touch. And that was data. And this led to a change in society which has brought about so many disruptions. So it created business systems, it created data, it created analytics, it created the idea that a machine can tell us something we need to pay attention to. And business took off. And in 2015, the fourth industrial revolution started. This was something in which now these computers are working with humans. We're no longer slaves to data in which we're controlling the information that comes up, but actually computers are coming together and working with people, working with businesses. Those machines operate in a completely different environment. They're working together. It's decentralized, so information can come anywhere on the system. We have the internet of everything, all these devices which are producing data. And machines are learning and being taught by humans and providing information in such a way that we produce something for the first time ever that's transformative in a very different way. And that is the idea of context. Context in which we learn something because expertise and knowledge and education has provided us that insight. And this new system is interoperable, so computers and humans work together. It's a system in which things are constantly modeled and learned. It's transparent in the way that information is shared, and it's interoperable. And everything that we think about today as being transformative and disruptive in society has come about as a consequence of that revolution. And that revolution is changing jobs. We often focus on the next generation of spatial thinkers. I want to call on all of you to help me create the now generation of business employees, a more educated business group of workers that can deal with these types of transformations and changes which are going on in society. Because we often hear about the disruption of jobs and the way that all of these technologies are putting people out of work in manufacturing and in retail and all of these places. But if we help educate people, these things will create more jobs. They won't put people out of business, they'll actually create businesses which employ more people. And we're seeing this in places like Walmart. Walmart are investing $60 million in educating its staff every single year. For $1 a day, you can actually get a grant from Walmart which will pay towards your degree. They've created 35,000 jobs as personal shoppers in Walmart, a business that most of you in the audience would not think about being transformative and on the leading edge of digital transformation. But they are. And all of these things, all of these disruptions are based on spatial context. The ability to drive down a street using a digital representation of our cities, the smart cities themselves, the drones that deliver as part of that, geo-AI, big data, machine learning, all of these things involve geography, spatial analysis, the ability to understand spatial context and apply it to business problems. And we don't have enough people trained to understand business and data and all of these things. I need your help to reach out to the business schools and bring GIS into this community. But not just me, all of the directors, everyone in Esri is asking for your support to do this. Because what we need to do is to go through the pyramid of understanding and education. To not so much focus on the bottom with knowledge, comprehension, and understanding of GIS, but build on top of it. So we're synthesizing and evaluating the information, the insights that come out of these systems. That is the fundamental of how we educate, and a lot of what Dawn has talked about is the principles in which we're changing the way we provide educational tools at Esri. The application and synthesis improves our understanding and our ability to apply it. And we can think about Esri Academy as fundamental to that. That's one strand in the chain. A second strand that David brought to Esri and completely changed the way we think about education is MOOCs. The connection in the DNA is Learn Lessons. I'm passionate about business analysts and insights and bringing these learning into more and more organizations. I've produced more than 50 infographics for business analysts that you can take and share it in the public domain, and we're sharing the same thing with Learn Lessons. And Esri Press is a major provider of that. All of these things come together to build the DNA. And by the end of this year, we'll have written a brand new book taking the amazing stories of 12 of our users and put that into a business book, Learn Lessons, and an online capability, just like the other things. So what do I want you to do? What does Jack want you to do? We really want you to think about how we can change the future by interpreting and communicating around data and analytics, by understanding business, by reaching out to other people in your university and help design more courses, help provide ways in which the different departments can collaborate. At Esri, as Jerry has spoken about and Dawn has spoken about, we're building 21st century tools. Tools like Insight and ArcGIS Maps for Creative Cloud, in which we can bring design and the way of communicating with data into the mainstream and using geography to do that. The geospatial cloud is fundamentally important for delivering on that. And tools like Business Analyst and Insights for ArcGIS and Excalibur are bringing together all those ideas of data, analytics, visualization, and putting them into a modern environment so that what we can allow people to do is focus on the communication and the interpretation of data and not just simply the assembly of it. For businesses as well as university, this is all about outcomes, making society better, employing more people, and I encourage you to partner with us in that. And for all this passion that I have, and I believe you all have, for this type of work, we have an incredibly bright future. We can model the future today, and we can hope that we get there. But what I want to encourage you to do is to be part of making that future. Making that future by reaching out to other people in your groups, in your university, in the place that you teach, and the people that you teach. We've got an incredible set of resources, as you heard, that we can assemble. A degree based on learning lessons is completely possible, and we can do that in business too. And to do that, we have to design those types of courses. We have hundreds of resources available to you. And tomorrow, we're holding a Business GIS SIG. So I encourage you to come and join me there. And I'm going to email many of you about being part of that, because this is fundamentally important to this now generation, as well as the next generation of spatial thinkers. This is one of my favorite quotes, and although it was said by Henry Ford, the same message comes from Jack. We've come together here, and that's the beginning of where we are. But we need to continue that by keeping things together, progressing through that involvement, that engagement and commitment to the future. But ultimately, working together is what success is about. So thank you for listening to me.